Thank you, everybody, for being here and just listening to our proposal. Overall, we are very happy to have been working on this project so far. We've had an amazing time with this experience from our first visit, going around, seeing the trails, to all the way back in the fall, doing the online with the experiments. I still remember building our own little model with the clay, and I absolutely loved it. And now being able to finally, actually study a site and be able to improve it is just an amazing experience, and we're very happy to be here. Going from the list here, my name is Matthew Zaczeniuk, followed by Sheena, Waylon, Conrecia, Dartagnan, Christian, who is not here today, and Sebastian. These are overall our team abilities and what we were able to bring to the table. This is just a reference from when we were doing the online presentations, and we extended it to involve everybody because our groups changed a lot during that time. And yeah, so basically this is sort of just something that we can show every aspect from everything that we were able to bring, individuals coming together and creating an amazing project. And this is just a continuation. And yeah, so just the High Rock experience, I already said a little bit about that if anybody wants to add. No? Yeah? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Waylon Gomori. During my personal High Rock experience, I've enjoyed it a lot. I've gotten to work with the wonderful group. We've done a lot of fun projects. Our first one was placing a water bar and a check step on a trail that was being damaged from a lot of rain runoff, and then blocking a corner of it because people were starting to cut the corner. And that's what I believe all these pictures are from.
Yeah.
This one is Sebastian. He was scooping some of the dirt away, or not scooping it, but flattening out. Relocating, thanks. He was flattening the ground so it was easier to walk on because we had recently gotten a lot of rain and there was a lot of mud that dried uneven. So it wasn't really fun to walk on. Rolled a lot of ankles. Dartagnan here is revegetating the sides of the trails, collecting a ton of leaves and sticks to make it a little better. And a little thinner because trails have a certain width. I'm over here trimming the branches because we don't want people getting poked in the eye or walking into anything. And then all the way on the right is us standing around our tools at the beginning. We laid out all the tools on our tarp. We counted it off, like in kindergarten, 1, 2, 3, 4, as much as we had to. Made a list, we made sure we had it all at the end, kept track of it very well. And overall, it was super fun. I don't think any of us had any problems. None of us ran into any issues, really. Yeah.
So here we have the table of contents where we're going to the scope of work, then the existing conditions, features and materials. Then we go into pricing of those materials, and then the considerations for why we chose these designs for this area. Yeah. For the scope of work, we identify parts of the trail that need to be improved, and we tell what structures are needed to solve these problems. We created a timeline for we would create a timeline for when we would do each betterment for the trail, and consider additional factors that impact site and structures.
Okay, so for existing conditions, really just what existed, the conditions that our trail had. when we first arrived to it. First, there was like a punch-in. The punch-in wasn't very stable. It wasn't an adequate size for the water it was going over. So that's one of the things we had to make an improvement to. There was also, straight ahead to that punch-in, there was like a trail going down, and there was a divot in the trail. So we had to make improvements to that. We also checked that off. And on the next slide, to the right of the punch-in, there was a trail, and there was also a trail which was unofficial from a marathon that we noted that we have to close off because it was messing up the trail that we actually wanted to keep on our system. So yeah, those were the conditions. Check that. That's Conrecia's forte, so I'll let you go.
Check steps. So we need wood around 5 feet wide and 2 inches thick, and we plan on making 3 check steps. That area, there was a slope and there would be a lot of water erosion. So we decided 3 check steps would be enough to to control the erosion. And materials we needed were the wood beams for the check steps itself and stakes to keep the check step in place. And we need a McLeod, a pickmatic, shovel, a mini sledge, and a bucket to work on the check step. So.
And for the check steps, with all the stuff we would need to do it, that the overall price would come out to $21.53. For each of, well, for most of the tools are provided. Only thing we would need to get is the lumber and the stakes for the check step. So this is mainly what I was focusing on during the project, and so the design we created for the punch-in was that we wanted to extend it, first of all, and also create small mounds of dirt on each side to better support it so that it wouldn't be in the situation that it is now, which is slightly submerged. We wanted to raise it up from the ground to just keep it out of the water and keep the water from basically like damaging the underside and whatnot. Extending it would be beneficial because what we observed was that the current punch-in was not reaching like from where the water stopped. We noticed that the ground was moist from where the punch-in stopped, and it basically the water crossing got widened by downpour, and we wanted to extend it to keep it from future accidents such as that. And just making it sturdier overall. So the main material that we chose would be pressure-treated wood because of its excellent resilience to outdoor environments or outdoor elements. The materials we would need is wooden planks, sort of like we decided on 8-foot long boards, and then we would cut them with the hand saws to 2 feet wide. And then we would use wooden beams 16 feet long, which would be the final length of the punch-in. We would also want screws and a screw gun to basically secure everything and construct it. And we chose this method because it would be faster, it would basically take less time, and would be less hassle. Other than that, the shovel and the bucket would be used to carry the dirt and secure it and create the mounds. So the final price came out to $300.28.79. Overall, the pricing was formed from checking websites such as Home Depot and Lowe's to get the final price.
Okay, so this is mine, closing the unofficial trail. Really all we need to do for closing the unofficial trail is revegetate over it. So that includes covering with leaves, soil, and other debris. So basically all we need is our buckets and other tools, which would help smoothen the trail. And we're using loppers to collect thorn bushes, which will be placed on either side of the trail to keep people from going onto it, because if they see any remains from a previous trail, they'll try to go on. So,
Natural barrier.
yeah. The final price came up to $19.47 because the buckets and loppers were already provided. So, yeah. If you want to.
So with all the projects combined, the total price would be $400. It appears to be a little lower than that, but we just rounded up, and most of the tools would be provided. Most tools we already have. So the only thing you're really paying for is like wood and stuff to like keep it in place. Yeah, so it came out to $400, so we rounded it up to also include some overhead in case we needed any extra materials, and overall that would be the final price. So here's the timeline. From our estimates, we considered the punch-in reconstruction, which is the first thing we want to tackle, to take anywhere between 1 to 2 days. I think that is also quite a long shot. I think we can get it done faster since we're gonna be, we're gonna have a lot more manpower. We're gonna have a lot more team members helping us, but that's just like an overall estimate. And then check steps, we plan to also complete that in 1 to 2 days. From our experience, creating a check step beforehand, we thought that this wasn't really going to be that difficult, and yeah, so that's going to be also 1 to 2 days. Blocking off the unofficial trail, that's going to take around a day to gather all the materials such as the thorn bushes to create the natural barriers, and just to keep everything nice and tidy. And then revegetation and cleanup, that would also take 1 day. Just to, gather everything, make sure the trails are neat and organized, and, take out any tools and whatnot. So the punch-in. So the reason we came up with this design for the punch-in was that gathering all the information that we had, or when we walked around with Miss Karen, the main design came out to what I described earlier, and all the materials, everything, whatnot, the design. We kept in mind that this is going to be used for like the next couple years, 5 to 10 years. So we need to create something that'll last. The current punch-in, of course, fell into disrepair, and that's why we created the design.
So we in the area, we chose check steps as I said, to stop water erosion, and we chose like as much as 3 check steps because it's kind of a long area, and the slope, it would cause a lot of like runoff. So yeah. Yep.
And finally, I'll just explain why we're closing off this specific trail in more detail. It's because the trail that we're keeping open connects to 2 trails, the Red Dot Trail and the Paw Trail. And keeping that trail that the marathon was previously on open, it is like a redundant, and it's not necessary. And all it does is create more problems, such as widening the trail that we want open. And it's just an unnecessary impediment.
Thank you very much. Thank you for paying attention and just listening to our proposal.